Hey everyone, it's me, Vinny, again. I'm back with another video. This one, I'm talking about today. Now, what is today? June 19th? Well, today is Juneteenth. Now, for those that don't know what Juneteenth is, it is now a new federal holiday. So just like July 4th or Memorial Day or Veterans Day, Christmas Day or Thanksgiving Day, and Martin Luther King Jr. Day and many others, this is a holiday that we officially celebrate all across the country, and is also one that we will all have for the rest of our lives. Now, there's a good chance that before last year you didn't really know what Juneteenth was, and believe me, I was one of them. The only thing I knew about June 19th was for two things. Actually three things. I knew it as the day that Len Bias died. I knew it as the day that James Gandolfini died, and I know it's also the day that Desmond Mofa, better known as Etika, died. So I just knew it as a day that people I knew about died. I didn't really know about it for any other purpose other than that. But then last year, something happened. When then President Donald Trump scheduled a rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma, it was supposed to be on June 19th, but it was pushed back because people were upset that it was on Juneteenth. And at that time, I didn't really know what Juneteenth was. All I knew about Juneteenth was just that it's something that's called Juneteenth. And like, what is Juneteenth? Well, I looked up what Juneteenth was. And Juneteenth is simply when the slaves became free. Now, hold on. As someone that grew up with a father who is a history teacher, and as someone who is also someone who loves history and someone that knows about, the Civil War, I always made the assumption that after we signed the 13th Amendment and when the North won the war against the South, then I just assumed that all the slaves became immediately freed. But it turns out that was not the case, because some crops down south still needed them. They took a little while until June 19th of that year, when a Union ship trailed all the way to Texas and said, guess what, guys? You are all free. And just like that, all of the slaves were now free, and now we're seen, well, in theory, as equal. Obviously, they still have a lot of issues to this day, but the fact of the matter is that for 12% of the population, roughly, a lot of their ancestors, that was their Independence Day. June 19th, 1865 was their July 4th, 1776. Now, before, I know that you had some people talking online, like Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro, among others, that were annoyed that for some reason that June 19th is a federal holiday, saying that that's the real, they're trying to make this our Independence Day, not July 4th. No one said that. Literally no one said that, Candace. No one said that. Listen, in 1776, if you were alive back then, you would be a slave currently, and if anything, you'd probably be you'd probably be a maid working for them. You would not be free. We've come a long way. Yes, we hang out with my white friends. Exactly. Exactly. That is correct, Zenny. The main thing that's important to understand is, I think it's very ignorant for people to assume that, oh, it's everyone's independent. No, it's the day where the slaves became free. Why would that not be a thing to celebrate? And also, Charlie Kirk, you in particular, you were the one that encouraged Juneteenth to be a federal holiday back when your buddy Donald Trump was still president. But then immediately 1 year later, when Joe's in charge, you don't like it. So what changed from then, Charlie? Nothing else. I mean, you say Juneteenth is a Republican holiday. Yes, that is correct. But please, Charlie, explain to me, how come 14 members of the United States Congress, all of them white Anglo-Saxon Protestant male Republicans, voted against Juneteenth becoming a federal holiday? If it's such a Republican holiday, how come you had Republicans against it? If it's such a Republican holiday, how come you see so many reflecting reports from Republicans? That's correct, Eric. I would like to see, the natives have their own holiday. I'm thinking maybe late September potentially. That's what I think of. You could replace Columbus Day, but I'm not too sure if that's really likely. But I do find it fascinating how you have so many people on the right side of the aisle that assume that there are some that want to try to make June 19th our real independence. No, not mine independence, but 12%, 13% of the population. That's a pretty significant day in American history. In fact, it was called Emancipation Day in Texas, and that was a big holiday for there for years. But now it's finally a federal holiday, not just a state holiday. Now people can be off for it just like they do for Labor Day. You really are against that? I mean, you really are against a day where you don't have to work? That sounds great. And we can go home and celebrate and watch some many, many wonderful films about Black history. That's exciting. It's a sign of things to come. Everything's a slow progress. Not everything's going to happen overnight. Things happen slowly. And, you can say about July 4th all you want. That didn't become a national holiday until around roughly 100 years after the country was founded. And guess what? Juneteenth didn't become a national holiday until over 155 years after it happened. So this stuff takes time. And, the thing is, is Juneteenth a Republican holiday? I think it's an American holiday. The Republicans of back then are definitely not the Republicans of today. I mean, they say the Democrats are the Klan. That's true. America, we still have freedom of right. That's correct. I mean, you see some of them say that, America, the Democrats started the Klan, or Democrats did slavery. Well, did you see any members of the Klan saying they supported Joe Biden? Did you see any members of the Klan saying that they wanted Juneteenth to be a federal holiday? Did you see any members? I mean, no. All the Klan members, if any, are Republican. You've all supported Republican. The South, very, very red, and usually where a lot of sentiment comes from is very, very, very Republican. So take that idea of, oh yeah, politicians. One says Republicans did it, but at the same time, the Klan and whatnot. I mean, yes, I know that there's some Democrats, but at the same time, but Biden speak. Yes, that is true. He did speak for a Klan member. That is correct. You're not wrong about that. But we're not talking about Biden in particular. We're talking about Democrats as a whole. Democrats, yes, that's right. Democrats as a whole are not the KKK, and you hardly see any Klans member, right? And they usually just say that. People just usually say that just to make the other side look worse. But yeah, it is a Republican holiday, but I do feel like if it's such a Republican holiday, how come 14 Republican congressmen did not vote in favor of it? Please explain to me that. If it's such a Republican holiday, how come so many right-wingers are against it? Are they doing it because they said, the Democrats using this as a political ploy? Trump wanted to do it. If Trump was still president, he'd try to do it too. Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Both sides are getting much more radical. I can't blame you, Eric. My dad's been like that. He's honestly become more Republican, and he's been watching some Newsmax. But when I'm watching it, I'm noticing that for some reason they're against Juneteenth, but they're saying that, it's a Republican holiday. Please make up your mind, guys. Which is it? You don't want to celebrate Juneteenth, or it's a Republican holiday. You can't have both. You like Tulsi? Yeah. Some people I know like Tulsi. It is pretty crazy. I'm happy Juneteenth is a federal holiday. Next is Election Day. Maybe a Indigenous Peoples Day. That'd be pretty nice. Hey, it's a federal holiday. You really are going to get mad with a day off during the summer? That's a great idea. I mean, imagine being upset for having a 3-day weekend. Doesn't matter what it is. I mean, people hate Columbus Day, and I understand the reason, but at the same time, you have a day off. Yeah, I don't think most people trust both parties. Both sides are trying to constantly go against each other. And when my side does, it's okay, but when your side does the exact same thing, it's bad. I mean, they flip flop all the time. It's amazing how just one thing can change. I mean, Biden can have similar policies, but just because Biden, it's bad. It's just insane. It's absolutely insane. And I find that even then, that's not enough. Like, yeah, I understand there's way more to go, but at least stuff like this is very, very big. So waiting for my 20 acres, they always promise. Yeah, I'm waiting for that too. Um, anyway, guys, I always like you watching my stuff. I'm soon going to watch the game. I want to do this on Juneteenth because it is a big holiday now. It is a federal holiday. No, they're not going to instruct you to do it, just like they're not going to instruct you to celebrate Christmas, and they're not going to instruct you to celebrate Christopher Columbus. They're not going to instruct you. They're not going to instruct you for any of this stuff. It's a federal holiday, so if you don't like it for whatever reason, you can just be happy you have a day off. Simple as that. No biggie. No kerfuffle. So, any Republicans upset about it? Most of your entire party voted in favor of it. Even the ones that are more on the other extreme of the spectrum. Democrats voted unanimously. Either way, I would say that it's a good sign of progress for this country. Yes, it may be superficial, but at least it is showing something. At least it's showing two holidays. You have both Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and you also have Juneteenth. There's some other states that say that they want to have like a Malcolm X Day, but I'm not too sure about that. I think at least these two are very, very big ones for Black America. And I also think, Indigenous Peoples Day is probably close. It could replace Columbus Day, but I'm not too sure. I feel like for now, it probably might be like, hard to guess, maybe like the fourth Monday in September. That's just my personal guess. I don't have all the answers. Oh, yeah, Biden's not perfect. Trust me, both sides of the aisle hate Biden. The left hates him because he doesn't go left enough, and the right hates him because he goes far too left for them. And it's pretty crazy. Like even when he tries to unite, it's still very, very divisive. And you still have Trump still doing a lot of stuff. He's still holding his rallies. You have Mike Lindell doing a lot of his stuff. Sidney Powell. Still, Fox News seems way angrier. Left wing media seems, for some reason, you'd think they got their guy. No, they're even angry because they're mad about Joe Manchin. They're mad that Biden isn't. They want, you see, but at the same time, this stuff takes time. You can't do this stuff in just a matter of just 6 months. You can't. You literally can't. And even when he did do stuff, the other side got mad that he did stuff. So what is it? Having this constant back and forth isn't going to get us anywhere, and you're going to be searching for answers. Anyway, that's the stuff I had to say about it. Unity's really coming together despite. I hope so. I hope Unity's coming together. I mean, I want to think so, but it's really hard to tell because it just feels even crazier. Anyway, guys, always nice speaking to you. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to Zenny62 Media if you want to see more. Also, hit the notification bell to get notified for new videos when they come out. Again, guys, I'm going to be watching the Nets and the Bucks game. If I have enough time, I will do a video on it. And we will see who will face off against the Hawks/Sixers in the Eastern Conference Final. Yes, Eric did introduce himself, Zenny. Anyway, guys, Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth, everyone. Congratulations. 165 years in the making. Hey, Zenny. 165 years in the making. Very, very happy that this happened. And like I said, if you somehow don't like it, I actually might stay on for a few more minutes. Mainly just because it's just crazy how you've had people against it. Yeah, I'm gonna be watching the game just a bit. But Zenny, what do you think about Juneteenth? How much did you know about Juneteenth before Trump said it? Because I'm sure that you probably knew about it. Anytime, Zenny, I feel like I should do a blog, and I feel it's important. This is the first Juneteenth that I'm experiencing. Well, as a federal holiday. I mean, I've obviously experienced many June 19ths. But now June 19th has a purpose, has a meaning. Just like December 25th. Or like let's say the third Monday in January. These are all very, very big things. I've known about Juneteenth since I was 14. Wow. You want to know what age I was when I found out Juneteenth? I was 20. I wasn't even 21 yet. Yeah, I mean, no one ever talked about Juneteenth for me. Me growing up, like I said before, I just assumed that slavery ended as soon as they written the 13th Amendment, and as soon as the North won the war, everyone's free. That's what I thought. I thought everyone was immediately free. That was what I thought. That was the impression I got. I wasn't told that it didn't happen completely until 2 months later in Texas. And that's why they call it Emancipation Day, because that's when the slaves were emancipated and they became free. I do like that name a little bit better, but I'm so used to Juneteenth at this point that, it's going to just stick with it. I would say, now that, like I said, I didn't really know much about Juneteenth. I was never taught that in school, and plus, I would say this. In my town, it's almost entirely white, so we didn't really talk about it that much. We did talk about Martin Luther King and whatnot, but we didn't really talk about June 19th. I'm happy that I'm most concerned the symbol for. I'm happy I was concerned that as a symbol of terror is burned in our brain now. It's a scarlet letter of America. Oh yeah, it is a scarlet letter. Of course, slavery is a crime. But the worst thing about it, Zenny, was that for many years it wasn't. And what's even worse was that America was one of the last countries to make it illegal. One of the last countries. And that's slavery shouldn't have. And you can say that for this country, our original sin is slavery. And of course, I was told all about how bad slavery has been. I mean, there's many famous movies, 12 Years a Slave, for instance. But at the same time, slavery of all kinds were used. And they went with Africa because they were much more susceptible to the illnesses that the Native Americans did not. They were much more susceptible to it. They were much more accustomed to it. And that's why they got them. And yeah, they just didn't care. It's disgusting. It was a sign of the times. It's not things that we should look on fondly. Bye, folks. A caste system player also implies by folks. Oh, yeah. We do not know our background. That's true. Sometimes, unless you do like Ancestry.com, a lot of times I do wonder, like, for a lot of black people in America, I mean, I know how I got here. I know how my family got here. My grandparents came in the late 1800s over through Ellis Island, and they grew up in Brooklyn. As for many other people, I have no idea, especially for black Americans. Oh yeah, of course. Doesn't mean they're enslaved. I mean, for instance, there could be Nigeria, like people from Africa, or people from the Dominican Republic, Caribbean, or like the West Indies. Like some they do know, but many they don't. Like ones that, for instance, George Floyd, for instance, great example here. Some of his ancestors literally were slaves in the South. I mean, they grew up around the whole in the Maryland area because he was born in Maryland. I think it was around that same little area. History too complicated for us. Of course, you can never try to simplify history. History is ever growing every single day. Education is growing every single day. We always find out more things, and whoever says it's too hard, whoever says, of course, history, you'd say it's told by the winners, but at the same time, people also want to see the loser's perspective. People never think about what it's like for the other guy. I remember watching The Joker in the movie. No one ever thinks to ask what it's like for the other guy. No one acts what it's like for the loser. No one acts what it's like for the slave. No one acts what it's like for the oppressed. You always get the perspective of the oppressor. You always get a lot of these things. And we're seeing a tide of that. We're seeing also both sides of it. I would say, things are also definitely very opened up. We're seeing these stories dramatized. You could deal with it, but you could deal with things all you want, but you also have the power to make a change in this world. And I feel like if you have a power to make a change in this world, you should go do it. But if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. But if you do want to do it, go right ahead and do it. We have the freedom of choice for good reason. And I feel like, if you want to do it, make a change. Bitching and whining about it isn't going to change anything. So, whole expression, don't vote, don't bitch. And say, there you go. That's how I feel. But in this case, they voted. Juneteenth is a national holiday. Hopefully we get more, of these things in the future, but this is just one step. There's many things to go. It's a slow climb. It's a slow climb up this ladder. Anytime. No, thank you for telling me. It's always good to have different perspectives on this. Because I don't know. Like you said, I did not know. Like you said, you knew about Juneteenth since you were 14. You're 58 now. I'm going to be 22. I did not hear about Juneteenth until I was 20. So, very different perspectives, very different worlds. And now, Juneteenth's a federal holiday, and, let's see what happens next. Oh. Anyway, guys, I actually do have to go. Again, hit the like button. It really helps us out. Subscribe for more, and hit the notification bell for more. Asian got a crime bill. Asians could have it too. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Anyway, guys, I do got to run. Peace. See ya. Happy Juneteenth.